What's up, guys? Going to do a quick recap here on today's trade. Again, second day in a row, I traded WSRC. So, super volatile. If you go back and look at the video yesterday, you're going to see where I said that this is still in play. Recent runners with volume, with catalyst, they're still in play, right? I said any new PR that comes out, you already know how the chart's going to react. And you saw today, we know, so before we get started with the actual details, if you like the video, have any questions, make sure you like, share, comment. Feel free to subscribe. These videos are breakdowns of what I'm looking at, and it's just really to help everybody and even help me. Breaking down my trades, I can kind of learn from the good and the bad. So I hope everybody gets something out of this. With that, we will start. So this morning, I was watching it for volume to come in the morning. I bought in right at 13 cents. I think I bought 85,000 shares. The volume wasn't significant, but it was trending up, as you can see right here. It came all the way up to 15.52. But I wanted more. I got greedy, and I didn't listen to what the volume was showing me. Minimal volume at the open, really insignificant. So as soon as it started pulling back, I exited. I think I made around $600. Nothing crazy. Maybe a little bit more. I gotta go back and look. But I was selling it. I was selling it into this because it wasn't pushing the way I wanted it to. I wanted to see a continuation from like the first day it came out. And then it kind of downtrends. I'm watching it. At the same time, I'm watching in the multiple stocks, and I'm scrolling through my Twitter feed trying to get any because Twitter is the #1 source of information for a day trader. If you're not aware of that, you type in the dollar symbol and the ticker symbol, press enter, and it's going to bring up any relevant information. And it's a really good source because a lot of people don't know how to read and dig through the SEC filings. And then there's some gurus on there. If you learn who to follow, you can get good information. With that, there's a bunch of pumpers on Twitter. So you have to learn how to filter through the BS. Okay, so anyway, I'm watching sometime around, well, what was the range? Sometime around 10 or 10:30, the CEO of this company, WSRC, posted a tweet. Hey, something along the lines of, finalizing the last meeting today. They closed their website down, or they shut their website down for maintenance, and it said new mining division or some BS. It's all crap, right? But it's a tactic used to gain momentum. This is definitely going to be buy the rumor, sell the news type play. Nobody believes this. As a matter of fact, if I had to guess, I would say some insiders, some executives or investors have shares that were previously restricted that are now unrestricted and free to trade. And they've got millions of shares piled up sub penny, and they're just dumping right now, banking. This is what they do. When shares become unrestricted, companies always drop a PR so they can ramp up the stock and then dump on everybody. So tweet comes out, and I'm looking for what? I'm looking for volume to come in. And so volume comes in. I see it run to like 15. It's consolidating, and then it bounces up to 17. I'm like, oh, nice. So I'm waiting for my entry. It comes back and hits 15 again. Or actually, it comes back and hits 14.26. At 15 shares here, I buy another 75,000 shares, right? Speculative at best. The volume still hasn't come in, but it's still decent. I think we're right around 20 million on the day over here. And then I'm just patient with it, and it's, I almost got out of it because we're getting into midday, and midday isn't really an ideal time to trade. You want to be in the first hour, last hour. Anything after 12 is, things are going to start slowing down. So anyway, it starts ramping. Volume's coming in the last half of the day. It's real significant. And so I'm just holding. I'm just going with the flow. And I'm trying to remember where I exited my position at. It was somewhere in the 20s. But, and I was selling up. I was selling along the way. I would sell 10,000 here, 10,000 here, 10,000. And I was just selling, into strength because I didn't know when the bottom was going to fall out of it. I didn't know how high it was going to go. And I think I ended up selling the remainder of my shares, in the 26s. So all in all, on this trade, I made about $4,000 today. I also traded it again towards the end of the day. It was really just a scalp for like $200. It was a foolish trade. Well, it wasn't foolish. It ended up being. It would have been good if I had held on to it, but my psyche kind of kicks in, and you kind of have two people talking in both ears, so you got one person in your mind is telling you, hey, FOMO, buy it, it's going to keep going, and the other one's like, don't overtrade, be disciplined, think about what you're doing, maintain the gains you've already locked in. And so, but you got to go with the volume. And so I'm selling here in the 26s, 27, 28s, and I'm loving it. I just locked in a bunch. I didn't think it was going to go to the 34 plus, but I hope that it would. And so when it pulled back here on this dip to 25, and then came back and hit 27, still couldn't prove itself. And then it right here where it hit 29 again, this is kind of a triple top, right? At 27 here, I bought another 30,000 shares. And then I sold them at like 28.4 or something. Because I saw it hit 28.9, kind of the fourth time it's topped this area and come back. And I'm just like, it's looking kind of heavy. There's no reason to risk a position, this late, this high up in the pattern. At this point, it's just FOMO, overtrading, undisciplined, being greedy. So I sold it. It was a scalp. I think it was like a $30,000 position, 27 to 0.284. And then I'm just watching it, and then it runs. And so, congratulations if you hit this. But at the same time, it's super overextended, and you already go back and look at yesterday's chart, okay, and the chart before that. It's either going to ramp into close and not gap up, or it's going to collapse. That's the two things in my mind. I know it's not going to gap up because it didn't gap up yesterday. Off of the first green day, massive green day. No, it collapsed. So here, it collapsed all the way back down to, the original breakout level, 25 cents. And so I didn't buy this. This is not a swing position in my mind. I don't know what it's going to do tomorrow. I don't know what kind of tweet's going to happen overnight. You just can't buy it here. But all in all, recent runners are in play. Beautiful chart, beautiful price action. I mean, it was kind of difficult at times because you can kind of see the gaps in between. Like the spread was not ideal, but the ask was getting slapped. And so when people start buying whatever you put out there, it's going to go up. Whatever price limit you put out there, it's going to go up. So I'm sure there's other people who absolutely killed this. I am not really looking at it anymore. I mean, I've already, taken advantage of this, but it'll still be on watch for tomorrow. I mean, only this high up, I just want a huge, massive panic, ideally back down to like 14, 15 in the morning for, a rip back into the low 20s. I mean, I always exaggerate. I want the quickest and fastest massive panic I can get. And then the faster they fall, the faster they bounce, normally, typically. One last thing I want to talk about is Wish. Okay, I'm currently holding this position. What's going on? Let's go through that. So, massive panic at the open today. It's been consolidating in this channel. It has not been able to break out past 430. I started buying this, I don't know. My average was, originally I had 5,500 shares at 1180 was my average. So somewhere in this, I probably bought in on this dip, right? And then I kind of wrote it down a little bit, but it still maintained, a solid base. And it's, off of its lows, and it's it just ran recently. So, I mean, it's still holding the highs. And now we have like this long-term kind of cup and handle the big squeeze, the consolidation, the step up, the consolidation, the step up, the consolidation, kind of like a quick panic, but not anything too significant. Back off of this number right here at 20, at 1250, 1260. It's a significant, this is support now. And I let go about 3,500 shares here at like 330 because I was like on the bounce back up. I'm like, let me just limit my risk so I don't, and lock in some gains. You can never be mad at locking in gains, but you saw what it did at the end of the day. It just started to rip, absolutely rip at the end of the day, and it was beautiful. What's going on? Let's get this. Let's just, okay. Now we're after hours trading, extended hours. It's already gapping up. Come on, man. So extended, I mean, it went up to, 1480 after hours. This has a lot of potential, massive, massive potential. This recovery is so impressive. The volume started coming in today. There's massive resistance at 15. I think as soon as this thing breaks 15, literally the sky is the limit. We could very easily be seeing this ticker in the next, tomorrow reaching 16, 17 plus. Next week, potentially even more for bigger squeeze. I wouldn't be surprised to see this in the $20 next week. I won't be holding it that long. Obviously, as soon as this thing rips past 15, I'm trying to get out in the 17s. Lock in my gains and then come back and play another. Because it's going to do this again. You're going to have more opportunities to get in. So I've held it a long time. I should have been more disciplined with this. Locking in gains, buying the dips, locking in games, buying the dips, but I was more patient because I'm playing. This is more of like a long-term swing type play. When I say long-term for me, I mean like a week or two max. I'm not holding anything too long. So what's hot in the market right now? Another one I'm in is DLOC, DLOC. If you go back and look at my Twitter, you can see that I have been talking about this ticker for, I don't know, a month or so. It's beaten down off of its highs. Former runner. The volume today was really nice. I think 40, 50 million on the day. It ran up 100%, kind of pulled back off the highs. So four is definitely the next wall. 4 cents is the next wall. I have, close to 2 million shares of this. My average is, mid twos. I bought another 100,000 shares on this dip down to 3.1, I think it was 0.031. And I really think this has potential. I think this thing with the infrastructure, this is a 5G play with the infrastructure bill coming out. I'm now looking and honing my senses on finding infrastructure type plays like this. And so look for these to start running. We're in a bull market. You got to run with the bulls. Keep going with the momentum until the market, changes, and then you have to adapt. We saw a big pullback, last week, and then a huge bounce. Like we're still, ahead of that, Fed news with Powell. So I think we're still bull, man. We're still good to go. So let's, you got to go with what the market's telling you, what the market's showing you, what it's giving you, and you got to go with the volume. So I think DLOC realistically, if they have a strong enough PR, this thing could retest 11 cents. Will I hold it that long? Unlikely. I'm going to start locking in gains as soon as it rips into the 5s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s. I'm going to be selling along the way. Lock your gains in. Always lock in your gains. Don't be afraid to lock in your gains. Don't think everything's going to go to the moon. Consistency. Always be consistent in your approach. Always have an exit plan. Strategy. So I'm looking for infrastructure type plays. Also watching Wish. Former runners are still on the watch list. What else? If you guys have any comments, any questions, leave them below. We can get back to them. I hope you guys have a great day. See you tomorrow.